How's it going, Star Seekers? My name's Luke and welcome back to the channel for another review, where today we're going to be taking a look at a rather unusual game called Umurangi Generation. It's a first-person photography game set in a kind of dystopian future, and you play as a courier who travels around different locations amidst an impending crisis, taking photographs to collect bounties and complete levels. Now, coming off the back of the recently released new Pokemon Snap, I'm sure that there are quite a few people out there who are perhaps wondering how this game compares. Well, in this review I'll be covering everything you need to know about the game, so don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to be notified of future reviews, and let's get started. So Umurangi Generation was created by a Maori developer called Neftali Faulkner, and it originally released in May of 2020 on Steam. It's just been ported to the Switch, where it's available for $24.99 in the US, or £18.89 in the UK, and the Switch version is a special edition which bundles together both the base game and the macro DLC, which includes 4 additional levels and a few new pieces of equipment themed after the legendary Jet Set Radio. Now, many of the game's themes are inspired by last year's events, particularly the Australian government's handling of the bushfires and pandemic, so the story does have quite a political edge to it, which may influence how some people feel about the game, but I personally didn't let this sway my opinion on it. When it comes to actually delivering the story, Umurangi Generation doesn't really show its hand right away, nor does it feed it to you on a spoon, and you really have to take in all the little details to understand exactly what's happening. Levels are littered with posters, flyers and news articles, all of which allow you to piece together the narrative and see the bigger picture, and I thought this was a pretty great way of handling the story, as it encourages you to explore and take in your surroundings if you want to find out more, but it also means if you choose to do so, you're able to completely ignore the story and just enjoy the gameplay. Now, gameplay in Umurangi Generation is focused around taking pictures, and the controls operate very much like your standard first-person shooter games. You aim down camera by holding ZL, use the D-pad to manually zoom and focus the image, and then a press of the ZR button will take your snapshot. Following this, you then get to manipulate the picture in different ways, adjusting things like exposure, colour balance, contrast and saturation, and to begin with you'll only have a few customization sliders available to you, but as you work your way through the levels you'll unlock things like bloom, hue shift and contrast settings, which alongside a bunch of unlockable lens types will allow you to produce some fantastic pictures. Now, your main objective in levels is to complete the photo bounties found within the pause menu, and these generally require you to take photos of certain key features found within the levels, often while using specific lens types, which you can switch between by hitting L and R. Half of the challenge of the game comes from actually locating the features, which are often cryptically named, so you do have to use your brain a little, keep your eyes peeled and interpret them the best you can. The other half of the challenge comes from completing the bonus objectives, which include things like taking group photos of your friends, recreating a postcard shot by standing on a specific spot and taking a similar picture, or locating film canisters within the levels which are sometimes very well hidden. Now, in order to finish a level you need only complete all of your photo bounties and then hand in your package at the red drop point, but if you manage to do all of these and complete all of the bonus objectives within the allotted 10-minute time limit, then you'll earn yourself some additional equipment and image customization options. Now, Umurangi Generation is a game which really tries to promote creativity by allowing the player to complete objectives in a number of different ways. You can just take the most boring snap you like and not bother to customise it if you just want to speed your way through the game, but a lot of the fun comes from playing around with the different lenses and finding inventive ways to complete the objectives. I often found myself completely forgetting that I even had objectives to complete, and instead I'd just start taking random pictures of people or level features and then spend about 5 minutes fiddling around with the sliders until I was happy that I'd created something that looked pretty cool. One final feature that I can't neglect to mention is that the game also features gyro controls, which while docked allow you to move and rotate the camera with your controller, and while undocked allow you to move your whole Switch around as though you were actually using a camera. Now moving on to levels, the base game contains 8 levels, with an additional 4 included after the credits roll as part of the macro DLC. Levels themselves are all really well made and offer plenty of opportunities to take some really awesome pictures, but here's where the really clever part about the game comes in. By design, levels feature plenty of neon and points of interest, which is specifically designed to draw your attention, but if you turn your focus away from them, you'll see that levels are also strewn with imagery and features which really build on the narrative and the oppressive and nonchalant nature of the world's government. Your journey through the levels will take you from a rooftop party with your friends to a battlefield and a train ride to safety, and while you can easily feel like a bit of a tourist, when you get to snapping pics of wounded soldiers or people who appear to be drugged up wearing some kind of virtual reality headset, it's hard to ignore the message that the game is trying to deliver. Now completing all 12 of the game's levels will likely take you around 4 hours, with a little extra on top to replay them and collect all of the bonus objectives. While the game doesn't really have any replayability in regards to the objectives you need to complete, you do unlock 2 additional game modes, those being Creative Mode and Speedrun Mode. Creative Mode removes the time limit and gives you unlimited film so you can take as many pictures as you like, and you can also make adjustments to the level, allowing you to change things like the time of day, the colour of the sun and the type of sky and fog, as well as slow down time when taking pictures. Speedrun Mode on the other hand is pretty self-explanatory. It adds an in-game timer which tracks how long it takes you to complete a level and then scores you accordingly based on how long it took and whether you completed the bonus objectives. You're able to speedrun single levels or the whole game, and while it is a pretty cool feature, especially if you're planning on streaming, the game doesn't actually record your best times, and I really think this is a missed opportunity, as they could have included some kind of online leaderboards to encourage players to keep playing the game and competing for the best times. Now overall, I really enjoyed my time playing Umurangi Generation. While the gameplay mechanics are simple and the playtime is a little on the short side, I really got caught up in the world and found myself wanting to dig deeper and understand the events which were unfolding. Being quite a creative person, I also just enjoyed taking cool pictures and messing around with the different modifiers, and I think the only thing that I was a little disappointed about was the limited number of objectives to complete in levels, and I really think it would have been great if the developer could have somehow randomised these for each playthrough. Now when it comes to any issues I found with the game, I have to say that there were very few. Movement with the jet set radio skates and the jumping in the game can be pretty fiddly, and you often get stuck on objects when trying to jump over them, and there is one level which is extremely dark and there aren't any brightness settings for you to bump up. But other than this, the game runs pretty smoothly with only a few noticeable frame rate dips, mainly in the aforementioned dark level. Now to end, I'll touch on the visuals and audio. Visually, I thought the game was pretty awesome. I've already mentioned the fantastic level design and the thought that's been put into it, but I also really love the PlayStation 1 style graphics, and I thought they really helped to add some grittiness to the game's environments. On the audio side of things, I have to say that Umurangi Generation's soundtrack is easily my favourite soundtrack of this year. The composer, who goes by the name Thor High Heels, has done a fantastic job, and while I can't really pin down the tracks to one particular genre, they include elements of 80s synth, industrial, drum and bass, dubstep and jazz, and everything just felt like it was a perfect fit for the game. So in all, I think that Umurangi Generation is one of those unique titles which has that kind of cult appeal that leaves those who haven't played it wondering what the fuck it is, and those who have played it either loving or hating it. I personally am firmly on the loving side, but I'm left wanting to see more of the world, and I'm just itching to dig a little deeper into its darkest corners, perhaps taking a snap or two along the way. Now when it comes to my own personal rating, I'm going to be giving Umurangi Generation 4 out of 5 stars. I have no doubt there'll be those who, after playing Umurangi Generation, come away questioning whether or not they've spent the money wisely, but as to whether it's worth it for you, I guess the only way to find out for sure is to buy the game and give it a go yourself. And that about does it for this review of Umurangi Generation on the Nintendo Switch. Make sure to smash that like button if it helped you out, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game and whether you're going to be picking it up in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as I upload detailed and honest reviews just like this every few days. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.